Well, this was definitely an interesting segment here for the Calgary Hitmen, as they had one of those games, as every team seems to have, but, you know, they strung together a few wins, and they even got to play outside here in this segment here, as you know what I mean. Anyway, it's time for another episode of... Hey there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel here, and I'm back in my regular headquarters at home here, as last time I was talking Calgary Hitmen hockey, recapping games here. I was on my fall foliage trip up in Valemont here, but that was a couple weeks ago, and all the memories are made, but you know, there was definitely some new memories made for the Calgary Hitmen here for various reasons. One game they would rather forget, and another game that they'll remember forever until they're no longer with us. Or, you know, something you'll remember for the rest of your life, as you know, it's not very often you get to play outside, and one game they got to play outside at the Prairie Classic here. So I'll bring up my notes here, and as you'll I'll talk about that later in this video here. But let's talk about how the past 6 games went. And I'm going to say that Calgary Hitmen definitely had a good start there. They were 4-1-1 when you go back to my previous episode there when I was on the road. And at one point, they were ranked number 5 in the CHL here. However, they lost their CHL ranking here. Well, it looks like we're in a tough Central Division here, as I'll go over where we stand after a dozen games here. So let's go back in time here, and I'll have to temper expectations on recapping this game. It was just one of those games, and it's only junior hockey here. If this was the Flames, I might have been drinking. If you go watch my Flames recap, episode 3 there was that one game where we lost badly to the Pittsburgh Penguins. I had to drink to talk to that game, about that game, but I want this game, but Game 7 on Monday, October the 14th. We were taking on the Saskatoon Blades at home at the Scottish Pig Stadium, 2 p.m. puck drop. Some Thanksgiving Day action here. Chance to maybe go catch some hockey, then go have some dinner, or go watch some hockey to work off your dinner, as I know most people have dinner on Sunday here, but someone must have had some good dinners, and one team had good dinner and the other team did not have a good dinner, and sadly it was the Calgary Hitmen here, as this definitely wasn't Calgary's day here, as Saskatoon opens the scoring just after the first minute. Tristan Robbins and then Eric Florchuk 2 minutes later, plus 2 more by Florchuk, and it was 4-0 Saskatoon. And this is where we are at the 18.5 minute mark. So the Saskatoon Blades already up 4-0 in the first period there. Actually, Mark Kaslik, the captain of the Calgary Hitmen, was able to put us on the board here with a goal in the final minute to make it 4-1, but we were down 4-1 after the first period there, so we definitely needed some work to do here, but it definitely didn't turn out that way. As in the second period, Saskatoon scored early, just like the first period, but there was only 1 goal in this game, as we were hoping for maybe crazy comeback here, as we were down 5-1. However, that got dashed, as in the second period there, one of our top leading scorers, Vancouver Canuck prospect Carson Fook, took a game misconduct there, so that definitely won't help for any comeback bid here. And then the Saskatoon Blades, just like, you know, devouring turkey on Thanksgiving, they devoured the Calgary Hitmen on this afternoon here, as the onslaught continues here. Saskatoon scores just after the first and minute of the third period yet again, and that another one 3 minutes later, so it was 7-1 Saskatoon there. Calgary, however, salvaged something here and had 2 quick goals at the 14-minute mark. Arka Weisblatt and Captain Mark Kaslik again to make it a 7-3 game. However, Saskatoon continued to show more mercy, as I say, as they added 2 more goals to destroy the Hitmen 9-3. Yeah, you heard that right. We lost this one 9-3 here. Definitely wasn't pretty, and Hitmen also got in some penalty trouble there as they saw 3 power play goals against. So it definitely wasn't their day, and tends to happen. But I also recall last year the Saskatoon Blades they were contending there with the Prince Albert Raiders for the top of the league there. So the Saskatoon Blades definitely served us some humble pie instead of pumpkin pie here on this Thanksgiving Day there. However, despite being shellacked and destroyed, we actually outshot the Saskatoon Blades 41-32 here. Who led the way for the Blades here? Well, we got Eric Florchek, who had 3 goals, that natural hat trick back in the first period there. And then Tristan Robbins had 2 goals and assist there. And Maya Kodora also had a goal and 2 assists there. And Mark Kaslik was the only Hitman that showed up, or was the bright spot. He had 2 goals himself there as the captain, so there was some things to salvage out of this game, but definitely some lessons learned, and this might be one of those games where you might just, as we still say, destroy the game tape, but maybe just, now that we're in the 21st century here, delete the digital footage, as it's all online now to watch the embarrassment there. So in net here, well, Carl Stankowski started, and he only made 9 shots and 9 saves and 14 shots there, and he was chased, and Jack Benotin came in and stayed 14 out of 18 there. There's Nolan Meyer for the Blades. He stopped 38 saves, so he definitely had a strong game here. And then after this game, we actually assigned Carl Stankowski to goalie. He eventually got assigned to the Penticton Vees of the BCHL there. So that means that Braden Peters will be the backup to Jack Benotin there. So that's enough for Game 7. It definitely was not lucky, if 7 is your lucky number. And let's lead up to the next game, number 8 here on Friday, October 18th. We were taking on the Moose Jaw Warriors, home at the Scotiabank Stadium. Obviously, the question in this game is, how will the Calgary Hitmen respond after being destroyed by the Saskatoon Blades? And happily, we could say very well here, as the Calgary Hitmen came out swinging, but we did not see goals till midway in the first period there. However, Moose Jaw actually got on the board as Jordan Joseph scored just past the 7-minute mark. However, Calgary struck back 3 minutes later from Orca Weisblad. And then in the final 3 minutes, Calgary also got a goal by Jonas Pederick, the import draft from Czech Republic, and Korsen Fook. So in the final minute there, so after the first period there, Calgary was looking better with a 3-1 lead here. And in the second period, we got an early goal. Carson Fook struck again past the first minute, and former Hitman Ryder Korzak, now with the Moose Jaw Warriors, actually scores 30 minutes later. And then 3 minutes after that, at the 7-minute mark, Orca Weisblad for the Hitmen scores his second of the game as well. So if you're following along here, the Calgary Hitmen were up 5-2 after the second period here. You can also highlight here, midway in the second period, Hunter Campbell for the Calgary Hitmen fought Alex Goodnada of Moose Jaw there. So definitely provided some spark there as we can always count on Hunter Campbell. Third period started off with rough stuff, as Calgary Hitmen got penalties from Mark Kaslek for boarding, Jet Wu for roughing, and then Moose Jaw also got a penalty from Jay Joseph for roughing, but Owen Harley definitely took roughing double minor and a game misconduct there. So all that happened early in the first 5 seconds there, so in the opening face-off there. After the dust settles, the Calgary Hitmen continued their offense here, showing Tessiero at past the 5-minute mark, and then Mark Kaslik at the 16-minute mark scores again. So the Calgary Hitmen ultimately did show they can come back from being destroyed, as they won 7-3 against the Moose Jaw Warriors here. And also the Calgary Hitmen also outplayed the Moose Jaw Warriors by outshooting them 46-16 here. Calgary was led by Marco Weisblad with 2 goals and assists there. Carson Fook had 2 goals there, and Lane Toder, Igor Zamula each chipped in with 2 assists there. Jonas Patrick of the, as I mentioned, an import draft pick from the Czech Republic, got his first goal in this game, a WHL goal. So congratulations to you, Jonas, and you'll be hearing his name a little more here as I go down this segment here. And he also had an assist as well with his first goal of the WHL there. So then for the Moose Jaw Warriors, well, fittingly, talking Hitmen, well, former Hitman Ryder Korczak had 2 goals there. And then when it comes to who was in net here, Jack Naughton, Calgary Hitmen, he had a very light game. He only made to make 13 saves for the win. Bailey Birkin faced all 7 goals that the Calgary Hitmen scored and made 39 saves in the loss there. So Calgary wraps up this homestand, Game 9. This happened on Sunday, October 20th. The Calgary Hitmen were taking on the Medicine Hat Tigers, 2 p.m. puck drop at Scotiabank Stadium, as they call Family Fun Day there. And Calgary actually got behind early in this game, as the Medicine Hat scored early, past the first minute by Cole Dillinger, and then Calgary got into penalty trouble. At one point being down by 2 players there, so at a 2-man disadvantage there. Medicine Hat took advantage of it at the 7 and 8 minute mark, both by Ryan Stankowski for the Medicine Hat Tigers. So 8 minutes into the first period there, the Medicine Hat Tigers were up 3-0 here, so definitely was not looking good for the Calgary Hitmen there. However, Jackson Vandeliest, Vandy, scored his first goal of the season, puts Calgary up 3-1, and we were down 3-1 after the first period there, so we still have some work to do, but maybe that's a bright spot for the Calgary Hitmen here. Calgary actually did tie things up midway in the second period and got 2 goals and a minute and a half apart here, so maybe some spark happened here as Mark Kaslik, Carson Fook, and Mark Kaslik scored. So now we have a 3-3-3 game after the second period there. So it's just like that, Medicine Hat scored first 3 goals, and then the Calgary Hitmen scored the next 3 goals. So it's 3-3 after the second period there. How did the third period do for the game here? Well, the Calgary Hitmen actually were able to put this thing away and make a comeback here, as getting 2 quick goals before the 5th and 6th minute. Marks by Mark Kaslik and Riley Stotts. And then Riley Stotts scored again. Riley Stotts is the prospect of the Toronto Maple Leafs here at the 11 minute mark. And the Calgary Hitmen, on the strength of 6 straight goals, actually beat the Medicine Hat Tigers 6-3 to wrap up the homestand with 2 out of 3. And also the Calgary Hitmen outshot the Medicine Hat Tigers 46-35 in a relatively wide open affair here. So Calgary was led away. Both Mark Kaslik and Riley Stotts each had 2 goals each. Jackson Vandeliest had a goal and 2 assists for 3 points there. James Malm, Jonas Patrick, and Arthur Weisblack also each chipped in with 2 assists each. And highlight here, a milestone, is James Malm, Calgary Hitmen. He recorded his 200th WHL point there, so congratulations to you there, James. And him and Jackson Vandeliest were at Flames development camp there as a invite, and who knows, maybe they'll get an NHL tryout by the Flames again, never know. So that's who led the way for the Hitmen. Medicine Hat, who was led by Ryan Wisniewski with 2 goals, and Cole Sillinger had a goal and assist there. So basically the 2 guys that scored early there or led the way for the Medicine Hat Tigers. And then when it comes in, also James Hamblin chipped in with 2 assists there. Jack Naughton actually started for the Calgary Hitmen, and he was chased after allowing 3 goals and 9 shots there. It was Braden Peters that took over, and he made 26 saves there. So definitely wasn't a good night for Jack Naughton there, or good afternoon, I should say. And I should also want to note that Braden Peters also made the score sheet by he picked up an assist and a penalty in this game. So what a way to make an impact there, now being the new backup goalie. Medicine Tigers, just like the Calgary Hitmen, they also wound up using both of their goalies here. May Sodard actually started for the Tigers there and made 36 saves, but he was pulled after the 6th goal by the Calgary Hitmen. And it was Garin Bjorklund who played the final 8.5 minutes, only made 4 saves for the Medicine Tigers here. So some off-season ice news before we get to recap the next 3 games here. As the Calgary Hitmen actually made a trade here, as they acquired Blake Allen from the Regina Pats here. So now he's going to be on the other side of the Prairie Classic here for a conditional 8th round pick in the Bantam Draft 2020. Blake Allen is just basically a depth forward here. He's not going to be here to provide much offense here, although he has already 2.5 years experience in the Western Hockey League. He did start off with the Kootenay Ice. Now that franchise is off to Winnipeg, and then said Regina Pats before coming to the Calgary Hitmen here, and he will wear number 25 for the Calgary Hitmen. And then Orca Weisblad actually was named the WHL Player on the Run Player of the Week for that past week there, as I heard his name a few times when I recapped it. And then when I get to the end of recapping some games here, there's some honors here for a few players. They'll get to represent their respective countries here. So anyway, the next half of the segment here, Game 10, this is on Friday, October 25th here. The Calgary Hitmen go on the road to Moose Jaw. So they got the Moose Jaw Warriors again, facing them again this in a week here, this time on the road at Mosaic Place. 7 p.m. puck drop here, and Calgary did not get the offense going until the 50-minute mark, where Moose Jaw took a couple of penalties and picked up a couple power play goals. Riley Stotts passed the 50-minute mark, and Josh Prokop passed the 17-minute mark, both on the power play. So the Calgary Hitmen had a 2-0 lead after the first period there. Second period was mostly uneventful, but Moose Jaw got on the board as Brady Miller. So now we have a 2-1 lead for the Calgary Hitmen's. Lead's now down 2-1. Going into the third period here, Calgary did press a little more, seeking a go-ahead goal in the third period. And then 5.5 minutes in, Jonas Pedrick scores to make it 3-1. However, things did get a little interesting by the Moose Jaw Warriors, as about the 17-minute mark, Owen Hardy scored to get Moose Jaw within 3-2 here. And then with the goalie pulled and with the extra attacker here, that was ultimately Carson Fluke, who puts it away in the empty netter with just under a minute and a half left to make it 4-2. And ultimately, the Calgary Hitmen won 4-2, marking their 3rd straight win here. Calgary also had a slight edge in shots. Figured this was more of an evenly played game, as Calgary actually did outshoot the Moose Jaw Warriors 26-22. Calgary was led by Josh Prokop and Riley Stotts. Each had a goal and assist here. Jet Wu also chipped in with 2 assists here. I didn't find anybody who had multi-point games that stood out for the Moose Jaw Warriors. So go right to the goaltending here. Calgary had Braden Peters in net here. He made 20 saves, while Moose Jaw had Bailey Birkin, who made 22 saves in the last there for Moose Jaw. So game 11. This is the big game here that's highlighted on the calendar here. Game 11, Sunday, October the 27th. The Calgary Hitmen were taking on the Regina Pats at Mosaic Stadium, home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders in Riderville here, for a 2 p.m. puck drop in the WHL Prairie Classic here. And this time we're taking it outside here, and this game obviously followed the 2019 Heritage Classic, Tim Hortons NHL Heritage Classic it's called. I'll talk about that game in my Flames recap. There'll be Season 2, Episode 4 there, although the Flames had just started a new batch of games here, so as of this recording, if you're watching it right after I uploaded it, it won't be a couple weeks till I talk about the Heritage Classic game, but this game followed the Heritage Classic. And just like in 2011 here, when it was here in Calgary, when Calgary hosted the 2011 Heritage Classic, the Flames played the Montreal Canadiens. That actually was on Sunday night of the Family Day long weekend. And then the next afternoon, the Calgary Hitmen took on the Regina Pats in the face-off Foothills weekend here. I think they also called it the WHL Outdoor Classic, if I'm not mistaken. So this is not the first time that both the Regina Pats and the Calgary Hitmen have played in an outdoor game, and they actually played each other in the last outdoor game that they were involved in. Then the Calgary Hitmen actually lost to the Regina Pats 3-2 as their Pats scored a late goal there in the third to take it 3-2 here. And despite that, it was still one half an experience, and I was definitely glad to take in the 2011 Heritage Classic live. But now onto this game, and Regina actually got on the board here very quickly, like 29 seconds in. Austin Pratt made it 1-0 for Regina here. However, actually the Calgary Hitmen, for much of this game, actually was the better team and outplayed the Regina Pats here, and eventually got rewarded past the 7-minute mark as the captain Mark Kaslik ties the game at 1-1. And it was a 1-1 game after the first period at Mosaic Stadium. It was definitely interesting and different to see a stadium outfitted for hockey, where you used to see football here. I mean, you've seen that many times in the NHL where they host a hockey game in a stadium that always plays football or baseball. I personally think it looks better in a football stadium just because of the way it's shaped and the shape of the field there. I mean, the baseball diamond is kind of awkward and diamondy, where you have a heck of a ton thinking what's the prime seat for if you're going to an outdoor hockey game. That's my opinion here. Now back to this game. Second period featured the bulk of the scoring here for the Prairie Classic here. First, Regina gained the lead as past the 2.5-minute mark. Robbie Holmes makes it 2-1 for the Regina here. Mark Kaslik strikes again for the Calgary Hitmen 4 minutes later to make it 2-2 here. And actually the Calgary Hitmen took the lead in this game as Jonas Pederik, who scored his third, just in this recap alone. But however, Regina, this was definitely a back and forth game, regains the lead at the 17-minute mark as Logan Nyhoff scores. So it was 3-3 going late into the second period there. However, the Calgary Hitmen took the lead back as Luke Prokop, he is the younger brother of Josh Prokop. Luke is a defenseman here. Scored his first of the season to give Calgary a 4-3 lead, and that was the game after 2 periods. Calgary was up 4-3 after 2. Third period here, Regina scores another early one to tie it up. This time at the 2-minute mark by Nikita Sadov. So we had a 4-4 game here early in the third period. So will this Prairie Classic shape up to be a classic? Well, actually, I'd say it did, as the Calgary Hitmen continued their dominant play. Also killed off 2 penalties in the third period there, but couldn't get the go-ahead goal. But neither did Regina get the go-ahead goal. So just like the 2019 Heritage Classic here, the night before, this game also needed some overtime here. So I would say that also can add to the allure of the outdoor game and it being a classic here. And in overtime, just 59 seconds in, Carson Fuchs scores to put it away, and the Calgary Hitmen take the Prairie Classic with the 5-4 win, and they win their 4th straight game here. And in the spirit of the outdoor games, you know, sometimes teams, a lot of times, they wear their special or vintage jerseys here. The Regina Pats actually wore special red jerseys, but the Calgary Hitmen, they wore their usual 25th anniversary silver jerseys. But, you know, that's still something special you can highlight in this 25th season here, is that the Calgary Hitmen got to take part in an outdoor hockey game here. And as I say, the Calgary Hitmen outplayed the Regina Pats in this game by outshooting them 48-27 here. The only shot needed in overtime was the goal there. So by Carson Fuchs. So who led the way for the Calgary Hitmen? Well, Mark Kaslik, the captain, had 2 goals there. Igor Zamula, Riley Stotts each chipped in with 2 assists here. And then Regina got 1 goal, 1 assist by Austin Pratt, who is also the captain for the Regina Pats there. And Robbie Holmes also had a goal and assist there. So when it comes to the goaltending side of the game here, Jack Minot made 23 saves for the Calgary Hitmen. Well, Max Paddock, he was definitely much busier. Made 43 saves for the Regina Pats here. And we had, for the attendance day I found, 15,401 people took in this game. I might say might affected a little that it was a very cool day for late October. It felt like minus 10 there, because I remember the WHL game here in Calgary had over 20,000, almost 21,000. It set a record for junior hockey and CHL at the time there. But I also remember that when I took in the 2011 Heritage Classic there, it was very cold. It almost felt like minus 20 for the Heritage Classic game, and it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This game also happened the third week of February. However, the next afternoon, Chinook came in, and it was just barely above freezing, but it was very windy, so it was a little more comfortable, although they had a few wind gusts there that affected things. So, it's still nice to see some of these outdoor hockey games, and Regina definitely did a great job in hosting this kind of event here, and it's definitely must have been one heck of an experience for all the players, coaches. Actually, my favorite childhood flame, Joel Otto, growing up, he was actually behind the bench as the assistant coach for the Calgary Hitmen back in 2011 when we hosted the Heritage Classic, and he's still behind the bench for the Calgary Hitmen right now, so he got to be behind the bench for both outdoor games that the Calgary Hitmen are played in. So after all the excitement of the Prairie Classic and the outdoor hockey game here, the Calgary Hitmen for Game 12, the last game of this 6-game segment here, happened on Monday, October 28th, the next evening here. The Calgary Hitmen were taking on the Seattle Thunderbirds. For some reason, this game, I saw the recap, and I was like, oh, that's early, but this game actually started at 6 p.m. Seems a little odd here. It was an odd Monday night game, as more Calgary Hitmen games are actually played on the weekend here, but this was also a Halloween theme for the fans game. So this was definitely nice to be back at home, but this was the third game in 4 days here, including playing outside at the Prairie Classic here. I think Calgary was playing a little tired here, and it showed very early here as Seattle scored twice and was up 2-0 just before the 3-minute mark, as Matthew Weidman scored early 33 seconds into the game, and Kelty Jerry Leon scored just before the 3-minute mark, and it was 2-0 for Seattle 3 minutes in here. However, Calgary did get their game going later in the period, and for much of the game. However, they were still down 2-0 after the first period there. Second period wasn't until the 11-minute mark when Lane Toller scored for the Calgary Hitmen to put us up on the board 2-1, and we had a 2-1 game going into the third period there. The only thing worth noting in the third period here is as both teams, I think, were playing conservative and tentative here, is that Mark Kaslick and Luke Bateman took conventional roughing penalties, as both teams looked like, as I said, they were just playing it out, and Seattle was more looking to protect the lead here, and ultimately that's what happened, as the Seattle Thunderbirds took this game 2-1 here, and ending the 4-game winning streak for the Calgary Hitmen. But the Calgary Hitmen are now off the ice until next weekend here. Calgary did actually outshoot the Seattle Thunderbirds 34-28 here, but I'll highlight that both teams only took 8 shots in the third period there, so it was definitely a slower pace of game in the third period there, as I would say. And the goaltending side, Brady Peters was in net for Calgary. He made 26 saves. Roddy Ross for the Seattle Thunderbirds made 33 saves. So after 12 games here, Calgary Hitmen are still in pretty good shape here, as they're 8-3-1 overall. 8 wins, 3 losses, 1 overtime loss, and they also have a shootout loss. They have no shootout losses this season, which does put them 4th in the Central Division, and they're in the first wildcard spot right now. We're about a quarter into the season right now, coaching the end of the first quarter here. But We also want to highlight here that the Calgary Hitmen, as within divisional rivals here, have played two to three fewer games than other divisional rivals, and we're still only 6 points out of first place here. So if we won those games in hand there, we would be up in the top three in the division there. So now when it comes to some honors here, there's a few players that we should single out that got various honors here. As for Sean Tessiger, was selected to play in the 2019 Under-17 World Hockey Championship for Team Canada, so it must be a thrill for him to play for Canada. And then next thing I'm going to highlight, especially if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, both forward Carson Fook and defenseman Jet Wu are named to Team Canada, Team WHL for the CBIC Canada-Russia series, so they'll represent Canada in that. And then in that same tournament, defenseman Igor Zamula, if you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan, was named to Team Russia in the two-game WHL stop of the 2019 CIBC Canada versus Russia series. So definitely some honors and some prospects going to get showcased here in a couple tournaments here. So that's it for the recap in the games here. So now this is the part of the episode where I'll take a look ahead to the next 6 games for the Calgary Hitmen here. As Game 13, this will be on Saturday, November the 2nd. They dubbed this game as Brett the Hitman the Hart Night, as the Calgary Hitmen will wear special themed jerseys for Brett the Hitman the Hart, the former wrestler and now in the Hall of Fame. He actually is one of the founders and inspired the name of the Calgary Hitmen, and I believe the quote goes, "The best there ever was and the best there ever was." And he's a local guy that definitely can read up a lot about the Hart family here and the dungeon, and he's definitely one of the celebrity Calgary fans out there. So Brett the Hitman Hart will be at this game. This will be on Saturday, November 2nd, as I mentioned. We'll be taking on the Saskatoon Blades, so we'll definitely see if this will be a little closer game compared to what I opened up the segment here. It was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome. That's Game 13. Game 14 will be on the next afternoon here on Sunday, November 3rd. The Calgary Hitmen will be taking on the Edmonton Oil Kings, another tough team ahead here. That's a 2 p.m. puck drop for Family Fun Day. The Edmonton Oil Kings definitely in recent times have had their number here, and for looking at getting within the divisional race here. So we've got 2 tough games, I think, coming up here on the weekend here. And then on Wednesday, November the 6th, the Calgary Hitmen will be taking on the Prince Albert Raiders at home. So it's a 7 p.m. puck drop. The Raiders aren't as strong as they were last season, but there's still no pushover here. That's Game 15. Game 16, Friday, November 8th. We'll be taking on the Tri-City Americans at the Scotiabank Saddledome. 7 p.m. puck drop here, so Calgary is going to be home the next 4 games here, or 5 if you include the last game, so they had a 5-game homestand here. However, then on Game 17 here, this will be on Saturday, November 9th, the Calgary Hitmen go up the road to Edmonton to take on the Edmonton Oil Kings at Rogers Place, 7 p.m. puck drop here, and then the wrap up for it will be episode 4 for game number 18 on. This won't be till Saturday, November the 16th here. The Calgary Hitmen will be on the road to take on the Saskatoon Blades again, this time on the road at the Saskatoon Center for a 6 p.m. puck drop here. So I'm anticipating this is going to be a much tougher stretch here for the Calgary Hitmen, but expectations are a little higher for the Calgary Hitmen this year, and I figure with all the offense we have, I think we're up to the challenge here. We just had one of those games, as I say, that every hockey team seems to have in any season there, and I think we showed some cracks at the start of the year that maybe we can beat the Edmonton Oil Kings. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow along. Bell icon gives you notifications, they say, for when said YouTuber or user uploads something. Of course, I do this and all my other Calgary sports recaps with the Flames and here we are going into the Grey Cup for the Calgary Stampeders, the road to the Grey Cup. Hopefully they can maybe defend their title at home this year, and in a couple months, Roughnecks will be back, so I'll have all my sports content there, and then I also throw in some personal vlogs here. I definitely have some I've already made, and I'll try to squeeze one in here and there in between all my sports content. Now that's hockey season and the cross season's coming around, and I did post up a bunch of scenery videos as I was when I was on my fall foliage trip there a couple weeks ago. So that sounds like something you want to watch. Just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and let's go Hitmen, and I'll see you in the next video.